All right, I gave you guys an example of a DM that I got, and I asked for feedback, and I'm happy to report that a whole lot of you gave feedback. So I very much appreciate that. Let me start out by saying that. Let me also start out by saying if you saw it and you didn't bother to give feedback, you're sort of self-sabotaging. I know that you can do it in your head and blah, 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 and all that bullshit. But in reality, if you engage with the content and if you write out what your points are and what you noticed, you are going to learn that much faster. Now, another point before I tear into this DM is I just recorded a lesson on this, in fact. If you noticed flaws with the DM, with the copy, with the example, that's awesome. What I'd like you to do in the future when you weigh in, when you give your opinion, is to make sure that you notice the flaws and then give like an example or like an alternative. So, for example, let's say you notice that the DM is only about him. So it's not about the customer, it's not about the prospect, it's only about me. That's solid criticism. You're completely right. Now, let's see your version. Like, how would you change that? How would you turn it into something that would involve the reader? Something like that will, again, if engaging with the content 10x's your learning journey in terms of speed, doing this will 10x it again. So, and the difference is really massive. Like, training your brain to not only spot a problem, but also immediately search for solutions will help you in so many ways in life. Trust me on this. I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I'm proud to say that everyone around me knows that I don't really dwell on problems. I train my brain to the point where if there's a problem, I don't even dwell on it. I just immediately go into solution mode. I don't panic. I don't whine. I don't cry about it. It's okay, this happened. Let's move on to how we're going to fix this. And that's a great way for your brain to function. So, with that said, let me get into the meat of this whole thing, and let's tear apart this DM. What I'll do it line by line, and I'll give you some alternatives, some, my take on the whatever's written there, and we'll end up with maybe a new template, but not so much a new template, just a new way of looking at all of this and sort of a buffet of options for you to choose from. I'm going to give you some more perspectives on this, so whatever you write, whatever DM you send out, doesn't make the same mistakes. So let's get into it. First line is, hey, my name is, and then he says his name. Now, most of you said, no one cares about your name, which is absolutely correct, by the way. No one really cares about your name, only you care, and maybe your grandma, that's about it. Also, your name, this is a DM, this is an Instagram DM, so I know your name because it says so right in your profile. You don't have to tell me, I just noticed, right? So now let me give you some uncommon advice, some advice that maybe in the other prospecting stuff that you find in the university hasn't been covered or hasn't been covered in this way. Like, I don't know, like I haven't gone through everything because there's a massive amount, but maybe this is new. If we're talking about DMs, I want you to DM people like you're an actual human being, because we like talking to, responding to actual human beings. Now, in that regard, hey, my name is, isn't the worst opener in the world. Like, could have been much worse. I got way worse, but it's not good either. So ideally, like you respond to a story or something, right? An Instagram story. Oh, this is awesome. Or you send an emoji or whatever as your first message, because that's what a normal human being usually does. But let's assume there's no story to respond to. Now, in that case, you want to personalize it. Like, you want to make sure that you are a human being and you're actually aware of whatever I post, because I'm also a human being, right? So in general, it makes sense to start off with something like a compliment. Hey man, been following your stuff for a while, and something relevant. Like if they have like a brand of surfwear or something, I don't know, like been looking at the new collection and looks absolutely solid. I don't know, I don't buy surfwear. Come up with something relevant. If you can't come up with something, don't lie. Don't say that you've been following him for a while when really you've seen like 4 seconds of his stuff, because it's not going to go well, trust me, and it's going to shine through. Like in that case, you're probably better off just by saying, hey, I found you on, or I searched for, like, say something which is the truth at least. Now we get to the second line. I am an email copywriter. If I see any of you use that line ever in an outreach, you should find a cane, like a wooden cane, and then whip yourself on the back, like 10 times or something. And don't spare yourself, like do it hard, just to get the message in there. Stop saying to people that you're a copywriter. Like half the people, well, more than half, 90% of the people have no idea what you're even talking about. What are you on about? Copyright? Do you mean like people can't copy your stuff? Like a copying machine? What are you talking about? And I wanted to test this, so I actually asked like 6 of my friends, people around me that 2 of them owned the business, 4 of them didn't. Like they were mostly normies that I asked. And out of the 6, 1 said, well, is that like someone that writes emails or something? Or what is? And the rest had no idea what an email copywriter was. So stop saying that. Doesn't make any sense. Also, no one gives a flying fuck about what you are, unless it's super interesting. Like if you reach out to me and you say, hey, I'm Peter and I'm an archaeologist that specializes in digging up T-Rex skeletons in the Sahara Desert. Now, I mean, that's interesting. Now you got my attention. Why is Peter emailing me? I don't know. But at least I'm intrigued. But if you say like I'm an email copywriter, I'm a video editor, that's lame. If you say I'm Cedric and I used to work for Disney when I was editing the Star Wars movies, The Phantom Menace, that's a lot of my handiwork in there. I mean, that's interesting. You are someone. Or let's go closer to home. Let's say you reach out to me and say, hey, I'm Jennifer and I write emails for and then the competitor or another company in their sphere that they would know. Now, even that might capture their interest. Now you're at least somewhat interesting. But if you can't make those examples, again, don't lie. Like I'm going to say that a couple times, but don't lie. Now there's a couple routes you can take from here on out. You could say, I help, and then their niche, let's say, massage therapists to get more new clients using Instagram. Something like that, right? Where you say that this is basically what I do. I help people like you do something that you would like. Get more clients, people like you being the niche. You could do that. And I've done that in the past, and it can work. Alternatively, you could say, I was looking at your page and I noticed that you don't use Google AdWords or Facebook ads or Instagram ads, right? Depends on what you want to sell, obviously. Or you ask a question. It's just saying, hey, have you ever considered adding something like short form content to your strategy? Have you ever considered using like more email follow-ups to your marketing strategy? Have you ever considered A/B split testing your landing page? I don't know, whatever you sell, right? You have to sort of come up with whatever you sell and make sure that the prospect actually understands what you're talking about. Because if I'm going to say A/B split test, well, now you need a pretty sophisticated prospect. Because again, most people won't know what you're talking about. Alternatively, you could say something like, I was looking through your page or profile, and I'm pretty sure that I know a way for you to easily attract more new customers and without, while doing very, very little work. And then you follow up that with, would that be of interest to you? And then you shut up. Like my DMs, especially DMs, like it's Twitter DM, Instagram DM, Facebook DM, I don't know, all of that stuff would be pretty damn short because no normal human being sends like DMs containing 672 paragraphs, like a Dostoevsky-sized novel in a DM. So this one wasn't that bad, by the way. I mean, wasn't that long. But in general, what happens in DMs is you send a couple lines and then you get a response, or you don't, in which case you follow up, obviously. But it's not really customary. I don't know how you guys text with other people, but usually it's like 1, 2, 3 lines and that's about it. So if it's DMs, I would probably do the same thing. Now, if you have it, this would be the perfect time to add like a picture of whatever results you've gotten for other clients, right? Or you would add another example of whatever you've done for a client or of your expertise. Now, I do understand that most of you don't have like a massive treasure chest of client testimonials and results that you've gotten, like you're just getting started. I get that. I believe it's Business Mastery 12. Don't pin me down in the number. It could also be another number. But Business Mastery, I think the lesson is called Start Off with a Bang. And in that lesson, I go over how you come up with like client testimonials or proof of competence, even if you don't have any clients, without lying, because I don't want you to lie, okay? So check that out. That will be of help to you. So in my case, the DM would be 1, 2, or 3 lines, maybe 4. That's about it. And we've sort of went over it in the past few minutes, where you would end up with a question, like some sort of a call to action, right? Would be, hey, would this be of interest to you? Or let me know if that sounds good. Or let me know if you want me to send it over. Let me know if you have some openings for new clients. Whatever, some question that makes them respond, or at least gives them the opportunity to respond. Like, you don't want to end up with like a statement or something. So let's go through the rest, because the bullshit is going to expand at a geometric rate now. Next line is, I can provide up to 3 emails a week. Now, most of you know that that is a horrible line to include on email or DM. So good on you for seeing it. Now, the reasons vary. Like, some of you were right, some of you were close to being right. I don't think anyone was totally wrong about this one. But mainly, you are prescribing before you've had a chance to diagnose. So this is like you calling the doctor and saying, hey doctor, my stomach kind of hurts. And before you finish the sentence, he said, yeah, I can provide you with 3 Quaaludes a week. Well, that should sort of start some alarm bells ringing in your head, because he has no idea what's wrong with you. Like, he didn't even ask one question. It's like, yeah, here, he threw some pills at you. And to be fair, this is how a lot of doctors operate these days, so maybe not the best example, but the right way to do it should be for him to ask some questions, get a sense of what's wrong with you, then prescribe. Anything else is malpractice. And the same goes for you as a marketer, as a service provider. Like, you always want to make sure that you have enough information before you start selling. Selling is super, super, super easy if you know what the prospect wants. And the only way to get to what the prospect wants is just to ask. And the only way to do that is to start a conversation. So our goal with the DM is to start a conversation. It's not to sell. It's not to close the deal right then and there. That would be dumb. Because there's no way you're going to close the sale by sending one DM consisting of, 10 lines or something. That's not how the world works. You have to know, like, what are you actually doing? And the DM is to start the conversation going. Like, build some interest and start the conversation. All right. So this whole line just goes. You don't even have to replace it with anything. We scratch that out. You will never, ever, ever, ever say that in an outreach. It's retarded. Don't do it. Same goes for you video editors. Like, I see you sending me emails or DMs saying, yeah, I can send you 5 new videos, 3 new videos, 10 new videos. Yeah, you don't do that. No, don't. That is for later, when you start going over specifics, not for now. Next line. This could lead to a 25% increase in sales. Let me pause there. The line goes on, but let me pause there. Many of you correctly said, well, my bullshit radar is going at full speed, and you're absolutely right. Again, there's no way to measure this. There's no, it's obvious bullshit. Now, quick copywriting trick, by the way. Never, ever, ever use round numbers. I know this number isn't round, but stuff like 25%, 50%, 75%, all of that sort of stuff. Instead of saying 25, if you wanna throw around numbers, do something like 24.78% or 26.3%. Something that seems extremely specific. Even if the growth was exactly 25% for a client of yours, do me a favor, it's 24.97% or something. It just works better with people. It seems more legit than 25%. But that's an aside. Like, in this case, that wouldn't have saved his DM for sure. Because again, it's horseshit. Like, you have no idea how much you're gonna grow or whatever, customer sales. What could work is you saying, when I tried this out for client X, for one of my clients, we saw an increase of X percentage in sales. That could work if you're not lying. Could also say, usually when my program is implemented, we see anywhere between 15% to 28% increase in sales. You can say that without lying, because if we're talking about adding email copywriting to the mix, probably it will increase that. Find some other testimonials from people that already have clients, see how much they increase. Now you can say, hey, when we implement this method, it's gonna, chances are it's gonna be between X and Y percent increase. And you're not lying in that case. Or you leave it out completely and you sort of let the other evidence that you've attached, like the stuff that I'm talking about in Business Mastery 12, or the Start Off with a Bang lesson. you let that speak for you. Now the whole thing unravels completely with the next, with the continuation of that line. So he continues this would lead to a 25% increase in sales by saying, and customer attraction, comma, would bring more investors. Now, I mean, that just doesn't make any sense, obviously, right? It's what killed the DM. Before, it wasn't exactly good before, but this is like the worst. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about yourself. Like, what does 25% increase in customer attraction even mean? Like, are customers attracted to each other after we, do your thing? And who's talking about investors? I thought we were talking about customers. Like, what are you even talking about? So obviously, skip that bit. That makes a lot of sense to even, to not even include that. But I wanted to focus on the rest of the message, because a lot of that stuff I see back in DMs from you guys when you send it out, and it has these elements in it that you really need to weed out. Every line should lead into the next and should have a purpose, and also every DM should have a clear purpose. So in this case, the first one is just to get in touch, to get a response, because once you get a response, now there's a conversation. Now we can start selling, we can start building intrigue, we can move towards a sales call or something. That's great, but first we need to get in touch with them. And if you're sending like obvious drivel like this, well, that's not going to work. So what I would invite you to do is to look at like your own outreach, look at outreach in general that you see, and start viewing it with this lens, like the stuff that I've just told you. Like, how many of these mistakes are you making? How could you change it up? How could you get closer to a perfect DM? And I already know what you're going to ask me. So because I'm a psychic, I have these supernatural powers, I already know that a lot of someones are going to ask me like, okay, Arno, so what is your template then? Well, it just took almost like 20 minutes to tell you how my template would look. But the issue is that it sort of depends on if this is Instagram DM, Twitter DM, Facebook DM, email, WhatsApp, SMS message. All of those things sort of change the format and the way I would handle it. But the principles behind it would be the same. Like, they would be the stuff that I'm talking about right now with you. And here's the major problem. If I give you the template, a whole lot of you will just copy it, paste it, and use it without any idea of how and why the stuff that I'm writing works, and how and why you have to change it up, which situations it's good, which situations it's bad. And what I'm here to do is teach you how to be an excellent marketer, an excellent salesperson. I'm not here to do your homework for you, because that would teach you nothing. Now, if you use these principles and you put together a DM, I am always happy to go over it and work with you on it. There's absolutely no problem. You can tag me in the BF chat, you can tag me in the Professor Arno chat, that's great. Include whatever you've made, tell me why you've written it like that. I'm happy to give advice, I'm happy to give my input on it, but I need you to do the work first. It's similar to building a fire. Like, a lot of people say, hey, give me fire and then I'll give you wood. Well, it's the other way around. You're supposed to, get all the wood together and then get a lighter and do everything that's necessary, and then you get fire. In this case, I'm the fire. I'm happy to help out, but I need you to sort of put in some work first so I can help you condense that into something usable and something awesome. All right, I hope that helped, and I'm going to pick a new example soon that we can go over together. In the meantime, if you've written anything, if you want my opinion on anything that you've written, like outreach, story, DM, I don't care, whatever, tag me. I'm happy to help out, always there for you. Oh, and remember, for whatever reason, if I don't come back to you within 24 hours, feel free to follow up and, tag me in the message again. I'm not ignoring you because I don't like you. Sometimes I miss questions. So it's not because of you, it's because of me. So just tag me again, happy to help.